USA! 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 All right, I'm out of breath.
Wherever it is that you may be watching from today, but I can assure you that you'll be glad that you tuned in, because this is the OH.Report video podcast taking over your eyes and your eardrums right here and now. My name is Brian, got the crew back with me, including this gentleman right over here to my left, who is always open for business. How about Travis Big League Berardi? Give it up for him, folks. Hello, everybody. Now let's move on to a gentleman who is part man, part potato, but never potato. How about Garrett G-Man Parlett?
How's it going, guys?
And last but not least, our fellow four-eyed friend in Storm Blunchley, where he's all business in the front and never-ending party in the back. That's the crew. That's what we got. Hey, guys. Glad that you could all be here with us. And, you know, the Olympics, they actually kick off this week out there in Japan, but no fans are allowed this year, with I think is a big bummer basically for the collective world as a whole. But even though we can't be there in person, guys, I thought that we should still send them out our love to Tokyo, because we're all red-blooded Americans. So go ahead, let them know the red, white, and blue we care
Let's
about.
go,
you
baby!
Right here in the OH. Cue the Bruce Springsteen. Get out the big fingers. USA, USA, USA. Oh, say, can you? Okay, we're going to leave it right there, guys. But since the Olympics, of course, kicking off with Friday night is when all the action really gets going. They have that opening ceremony. Travis was telling me that some of the soccer games and other sports actually get to play on Wednesday night. But it got us thinking, of course, about the Olympics and the USA and our favorite all-time Olympian. So, Travis, who is it for you that when you think about the Olympics comes to mind for those summer games?
It's actually a group. It's Misty May Traynor and Carrie Walsh Jennings, the volleyball crew. They won the 04, 08, and 2012 Olympic gold medals. Then Misty May retired. Carrie Walsh comes back in 16 and gets another bronze medal. So those two, loved watching the beach volleyball. It's one of the most exciting sports, I think, in the Summer Olympics, just the pure athleticism these two girls have to do on each side of the net. So, yeah, it was fun watching them.
The athleticism and then those tall, great-looking girls in bikinis, it just all ties together. It's a perfect marriage, I think, of athletics in the sand. G-Man, tell me who really stands out to you. Who's your favorite all-time Olympian?
Well, Brian, I'm going to go with Jesse Owens. He obviously broke a lot of barriers at the time in 1936, but he also won 4 gold medals at the time. He went to the Ohio State, and he's also named after the Ohio State track and field team. So I'm going with Jesse Owens, Brian. I don't think it's really that much of a discussion.
It's a very popular pick, of course, right here in the Buckeye State, too. So way to clamor to the fans right here in our own backyard. Let them know, G-Man. Jesse Owens, the real deal. Storm, who is it for you? The red, white, and blue, all those little circles all pinned up. I think 5 of them for the Olympics. Who starts stirring your brain cells?
Well, it's a collective group of guys for me. I'm going to have to go with the dream team, of course. Guys like Magic Johnson, Karl Malone, the round mound rebound, Charles Barkley, and, of course, who could forget Michael Jordan. But that team was so dominant, maybe one of the best basketball teams ever formed ever in the history of the planet. So, I mean, when it comes to great Olympians, it's got to be, the dream team.
Okay, I like all your guys' picks. They're all great, but for me, it's got to be the Baltimore Bullet. You want to talk about the most decorated Olympian of all time from right here in America, baby. Yeah, that's right. It's got to be Michael Phelps for me. There's no question about it. The guy's got 28 Olympic medals. 23 of them are gold. Are you kidding me? That guy could basically melt those all down and buy up the whole entire state of Ohio if he really wanted to. That's how much bling my guy Michael Phelps has, and he made swimming cool. That was my favorite part about him. I remember in 2004 in Athens when he was winning, I believe, 5 gold medals, you had to find a spot on the couch when he was coming on the screen. And then, of course, 8 for 8 the following summer games, a perfect Summer Olympics for him. So for me, it is that guy. But speaking of all-time favorites and greats, how about our very own Andy Jardy, who's going to be joining the show with us right here and now, joining us from his fancy apartment. Where are you at? today, Andy?
Uh,
Where's the skyscraper that you're living in
Yes.
these days?
No, I'm just at my place in Lakewood, in my apartment, and happy to be joining you guys. Those are all fabulous picks for Best Olympian, and that's the problem when you go fifth in something like this. Everyone took mine. Misty May and Kerry Walsh were up there for me, and Michael Phelps as well. There was nothing like watching Michael Phelps shatter records, win gold medals, and you just, like you said, Brian, you had to find a spot on the couch to see his events. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was the first time in my life that I remember being like, where's the swimming pool? You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to get out there, too, and see if I had what it took. The way that he would flap his arms, just everything about Michael Phelps. He's one of a kind, and so are you, Andy. So we appreciate you joining us here today. And, of course, you follow the Cleveland Indians up there in the Cleveland area for Fox Sports, so you're really plugged in. You're watching every single swing, every pitch, every at-bat, all of that. And for me, and I think collectively, kind of Indians Nation as a whole, we think we're kind of overachieving the 47 wins right now, 4 games above 500. What would you attribute the success for this team to be? And do you feel like we have overachieved so far this year?
I kind of went into the season with zero expectations. They kind of slashed the payroll. They were trying to adjust from the COVID year last year. But I really think the only reason this team is 47 and 43 right now is because Terry Francona is the manager. He is playing guys that he doesn't know who they are, but he's finding ways to get the most out of his guys. And that is really just a testament to the kind of coaching that Tito does and the culture that he's built here in Cleveland since 2013. We remember the Manny Acta years, 2009, 2012. This kind of roster that they have right now would not be where they are if Tito was not the manager.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and obviously a big reason why they're playing the no-names is because they have to. A lot of guys are injured right now, particularly on the pitching staff. How much of a role, in your opinion, has that played to the Tribe? We were flirting there in first place. Now they've kind of dropped off a little bit, quite a few games back in second in the AL Central.
Yeah, 9-game losing streaks will do that to you in a season, and that was a big part because of the fact that they lost basically their entire starting rotation. You could kind of navigate without Bieber, but then you lost Savali, and then Plesac was out with a freak injury. And so you're down like the big pieces that you thought you were going to have to kind of anchor this team throughout the season. And it just caught up to them at the worst time. The schedule got really tough. And losing those 3 guys was just too much for them to overcome. But you give them credit. They bounced back and found a way to win a series in Oakland, which they haven't done since 2014. So they're hanging tough. They're a resilient bunch, that's for sure.
Well, a guy who has been on the field for us and has been in the MVP conversation over the last several years, of course, Jose Ramirez, all the things that he brings to the table, I believe leading the team right now, RBI, dingers, on-base percentage, and then he just brings a little bit of style and flavor to the lineup, especially now that Frankie Lindor is not at our disposal. What can you say about the value and worth of J-Ram and what he brings to this club in total?
Well, you build the entire lineup around him. You put him in at that number 3 spot, and then everything else just kind of falls into place. But, yeah, you cannot overstate the importance of Jose Ramirez on this lineup because he really just is the catalyst that gets them going. And without Jose, I don't know where they would be offensively because he's really carried them a lot. He's won them games himself where he's been the only one to drive in runs. And he does a great job at third base defensively, too. So, yeah, Jose doesn't get the attention nationally that he deserves, but I think we all realize how important and talented he is here in Cleveland. But you just wish it would kind of register on the national scale a little bit more.
Well, our resident MLB junkie, Travis Berardi, we got him in the bullpen. He cannot wait to come out and fire a question your way. It would be too much baseball talk on today's episode if we allowed him out of the cage for too long, so he gets one question for you, Andy. Go ahead, Travis, lay it on him.
I guess I'm the closer today, closing things out. All right, the Indians right now, 8 games behind Chicago for first place in the division. They're 3.5 behind Oakland for that second wild card spot, 6.5 behind Tampa Bay. They get the big series win after, getting walked off in the first game back from the All-Star break. Going into this trade deadline, what do? Do they sell because, they don't think they're going to compete to get to that spot, or do they buy, or do they just stay pat and hope that they can, make up those 3.5 games?
I don't see them doing anything major at the deadline. I think, if anything, they might get rid of like a Cesar Hernandez, someone of that nature, because I think they're still just trying to figure out what they have. I mean, you're starting to see Bradley Zimmer get some hits again. He had a big game yesterday in Oakland. Oscar Mercado's back up with the team. You've got Ernie Clement up here. Owen Miller has spent some time up here. I don't know if they're going to go out and make any moves, and they might just kind of see what they've got in-house as they evaluate going into next season.
So it's more of a just stay pat and maybe add on for the future.
Yeah, I think so. And if they make a move, it might be, I think, trying to remember what year it was, 2014 or 2015. They made a deal at the deadline to get Mark Sipchinski, the relief pitcher. It might be something like that, where they go out and get another arm. But I don't see them doing anything crazy. There was a tweet by a national reporter a couple last week or so saying that they're listening to offers about Bieber, Savale, Karinchak. They're not going to do anything like that. There's no way that would be like PR suicide for this franchise right now. I don't see them getting rid of anything big.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that. We got to keep our core guys together, at least when they're young and we can afford them, Andy. That is the Cleveland way. That's what we've done for years and years and years. And with Tito at the helm right now, it's paying off. I can't, though, sit through an entire baseball game. I got to admit this to you. 3 hours and 8 minutes is the average length of an MLB game this year, Andy. Our research team is one of the best in the business. This is what you can do in less than 3 hours. You can watch The Green Mile, Deer Hunter, JFK, The Wolf of Wall Street, Dances with Wolves, and Titanic. You could even walk from Arlen Field right here in our own backyard of Mansfield out to Galleon, so you could catch a football game for the Tigers and then go see the other Tigers down the block. Finally, in just 2.5 hours, so you'd get there and still be able to catch the last 2 innings, you could walk from Arlen Field to Lexington. So my question to you, Andy, because I know that you're a baseball nut, is it worth the time investment from the first pitch to the last pitch to take in an entire 9-inning game?
Absolutely. And I'm very excited to see we're getting rid of these 7-inning doubleheader nonsense. And I can see I've upset Brian. Knew this would happen. And also, too, the base runner starting at second base in extra innings. I'm okay if you start that maybe in the 12th inning, but to start it right in the 10th, it does nothing for me. People who like baseball, enjoy watching baseball, don't think the game is too long. And I think people who are kind of fringe fans or want more action, I feel like the last minute of a close basketball game takes 3 hours and 8 minutes. So, do you have the times of an average football game, too? Like an NFL
I don't
game?
have those figures at my disposal here, Andy. We're going to focus just on the one topic. And I know that Travis is going to agree with you. He loves baseball, too, the entire charm of it, and I get it, and it's great for you folk. Let's come down here to our fringe fanhood, though. G-Man and Storm, I think they're going to be on my bandwagon. Gentlemen, what's your thoughts on the value of an entire game? Can you watch one 3 hours and 8 minutes?
Not on TV. Now, if we're going there, if we're going to the stadium, you get the whole environment, I'm definitely down. They're super fun to watch. But by the 6th inning, I'm like, man, is it time to go home yet? Let's go get some food, something. I'm getting pretty bored. But I don't want to disrespect Andy because I think there is a crowd out there that enjoys the 9-inning games and the battle, the pitching battle, and the defensive battle. But it's not for me. But if we go there, I'm down to go and watch one. But I can't sit down and watch in front of a TV for 3 hours. It's just not me.
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely like the atmosphere, going, to the Indian Stadium or something, watching a game, sitting down, having a brew or two, having a hot dog or two. So definitely a lot of fun going. Sitting back on the couch, there's things I'd rather do, but I think the MLB could implement some things like a pitch clock to take away some of the excess time. I definitely don't think there's a reason that it has to be that long. I definitely think it could be shorter, but just a little too long for my liking.
I am a big sucker for the 7th inning stretch, Andy. That I'll tell you. That's always an award-winning time of the game. So I'll give it up. And one thing that I'll always watch the entire thing from start to finish, and that's you on the call with our boy Effie James on Friday nights under the lights, and you're going to be back with us again. How much are you looking forward to Friday Night Football with butts in the seats? We're going to have fans in the stands this year.
Yeah, it's crazy how it always comes up quick. I feel like you're kind of in that lull, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we have high school football in a couple weeks. Very much looking forward to getting back down there. Excited to be with Effie again. Excited to be with all of you again. And definitely looking forward to having atmospheres, crowds. And I'm really looking forward to basketball season too. I need our pep bands back in there. I need an atmosphere. And so I'm very much looking forward to Friday nights under the lights again here soon.
All right, well, ask and you shall receive. Football kicks off in just a few short weeks, less than a month, I think now, fellas, so it's all back, and Andy's going to be back as well. Appreciate you giving us some time, and enjoy your afternoon, man. What's it going to look like for you?
We might go for a walk later. We'll watch the baseball game, of course. That's 8 o'clock tonight, Indians-Astros on Bally Sports Great Lakes. You can watch it there. And, 3 hours and 8 minutes. I actually thought that didn't seem that long. So, yeah, that time doesn't upset me.
Spoken like a true baseball fan. Andy, thanks so much for stopping by, bro. Well, as I'm sure Andy Jardy knows, because I see him on the social media all the time, sometimes in the Twitter sphere, you'll get just a little bit too involved with like a thread. You'll go down a rabbit hole or get involved in some kind of a debate on there and a random topic that you're not even sure how you got to that point. And for me the other day, boys, it was about the best gambling movie of all time, which to me, it's not close. I think maybe even my favorite movie of all time is Rounders, Matt Damon when he was young, Edward Norton as well. Just everybody is just casted perfectly. I just love how they take you inside of an environment that, from what I've heard from former or past professional poker players, that's really how it was before it got glamorized in the early 2000s, Chris Moneymaker and all that, and the big online boom. So my question for you guys, though, is do you feel like poker is actually a sport? Would you consider a professional poker player who's very successful, does it 6-7 days a week, as being somewhat of an athlete, G-Man?
Well, just a few weeks ago, we decided that Joey Chestnut was an athlete for eating like 75 hot dogs. So I'm going to say yes. I've never played poker myself, but talking to you guys, you said it's a lot of strategy, a lot of mind games. So I would say yes. I mean, if he's doing it basically for his life, making money off of it, dedicating his time to it, I'm going to say yes. But I'm curious what you guys are going to say, because you guys are kind of more invested into it than I am.
Yeah, let's actually go over here now, because Travis is a little bit more in my age range, and I remember kind of specifically in 2003 when Chris Moneymaker won on ESPN. It was the first year of the World Series of Poker that you could see the whole card. So before that, it wasn't a great watch, but then when you actually got to go inside of their mindset, what they're doing and why they have their cards, I think it just took off. It exploded. And Travis, you were old enough to remember all of that. Do you feel like, though, they're being athletes doing it at the top of their game at the poker table?
I think it's sport. It made it to ESPN, the sports network, but I remember that the big craze when the World Series of Poker took off. You could see the cards with the little cameras on the table and stuff like that. They came out with the video game on the computer where everybody can play it. That's when internet poker really took off as well. I do think it's a sport because it takes strategy. You have to strategize. You're sitting there for a long period of time, longer than a baseball game even, to play these hands and stuff. But just with the strategy, with everything that goes into it, I think it is a sport.
Storm, are you going to back them up? Are you going to go sport 3 for 3 with you guys all agreeing?
I definitely am. I think poker is a lot more difficult than what people think. I think it's just like Travis said. There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of thought going into every move, and a lot of money is on the line. I mean, I know we were at the casino the other night, and I'm sweating bullets with $10 a hand at blackjack. So I couldn't imagine if I had $500,000 on the line. So I definitely think that they're put in a very stressful situation, and that they're at the top of their game, and it's a sport.
I kind of waffle on this. I don't really know. I can't necessarily decide. I think Travis makes a great point, though. If it's going to be on the worldwide leader in sports, of course, it probably does have to be athletics of some sort, but I think just because you're strategizing and you're using your mind to your benefit doesn't necessarily mean that it is a sport. I think there's lots of other comparisons, and I know that our producer, Adam Thompson, has some of those prepared for you here today. So, Adam, per some of your research, what would you say that you could liken poker to that isn't necessarily athletics, but you would consider being a game of strategy of some sort?
Sport? No, sports involve athletes. Athletes are different than competitors. Pokemon Go or Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, video games. Do any of you consider these sports?
Yes. Video games, yes.
Correct, but okay, we'll back it up a little. Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, the card game. Is that a sport or is that a competition? Is chess a sport or a competition? I consider sports to have athletes, and to be an athlete, there is more of a physical training that goes along, whether that be cardio, muscular, not just a strategy, because that's chess, and I don't think anybody here is considering chess athletes. Rubik's Cubes, cup stacking, all of these things are competitive, but nobody's out there going, that Rubik's Cube dude, that's my athlete. So therefore, I do rock, paper, scissors. Again, these are things you can compete in, but nobody's calling these people athletes. You need athletes to be a sport. Otherwise, you're just competing, and there's a difference between competition and a sporting event.
I think I've just been swayed back over to the other side now, because that's kind of always been my thought process. If you're not doing anything physical, like some people be like, golf's not a sport. Yes, it is. You're doing something physical. Come on. Like darts even I would consider. That's a sport. You're doing something physical. There's lots of other things where you need your body combined with your mind to actually make it happen. Poker, it's 100% your brain. You ain't even got to touch the chips if you don't want to. You can just sit there and say, I bet this amount. But Travis, maybe you had one last point you wanted to make to try to sway me back on your side?
Just the mental prep. I mean, you have to get your brain right. You have to get ready. You have to train it. I guess it's not a physical training, but it is a mental training. You're sitting in there for a long period of time. Some of us even sitting at the blackjack table back in Pittsburgh a couple nights ago. You get tired. Your brain starts to go after an hour or two sitting there. These guys are out there 6-7 hours at a time. They get maybe a 10-minute break. Then they go back in there and they continue to play. So, yeah, you're not doing any physical work, but that mental work, I mean, your brain has to work harder, I think, playing poker, especially at the competitive, the highest level, than switching a Rubik's Cube or stacking cups. But I think just because of the mental aspect of it, that's why I think it's a sport, just because you have to use your brain that much, and you have to keep it at that level for a long period of time, and I think Adam has a rebuttal. So go ahead, Adam. Please shut me down.
I was just going to say, if that's the measuring stick for prepping time, then anybody that's done the ACTs and an ACT should automatically be in some kind of sports hall of fame, because the mental prep for those takes weeks. With cards, only so much. Even if you're counting cards, there's only 52 in that deck. Like, I know there's thousands of different combinations, but if your argument is just the preparation and the mental that goes into it, then students automatically have to be considered athletes. And again, I think you have to draw the line between competition and sporting event.
Fair point. Fair point.
Well, one guy I know that is always overly prepared, that has plenty of pages of notes. He is always studying to make the grade for his commentary, the voice of high school football and boys basketball for more than 30 years right here in our own backyard of North Central Ohio. How about Brian Harter joining the show with us here during a work day? So we're glad that you could carve out 10 minutes for us, Brian. What kind of card player are you? Are you any kind of a shark?
Well, no, I'm not. And I'm going to blow a hole in your theory. I completely agree with Adam. I think if it doesn't involve physicality, it's not a sport. Because I like to play Scrabble, which involves strategy and things like that. And to me, that's not a sport. And saying that because it's on the worldwide network, well, there's the entertainment and sport programming network. So that's where that other non-athletic stuff slides in there.
Well, you're a pretty awesome guy, Brian. Just because you're not a good poker player doesn't mean that you're not, still an outstanding commentator. And as human beings, we all kind of have our own flaws, Brian. And unfortunately for you, yours happens to be that you root for the Michigan Wolverines in athletics. So you picked this topic. You wanted to bring it up. Jim Harbaugh hasn't been able to get it done, I think, at the level that Wolverines fans were anticipating. Could this be the year, though? Will the Wolverines actually be good?
No, I don't think so. I think there's just too many question marks with this team. They're way too young. I think in a couple of years, this team could be really good. I think Cade McNamara is going to be a good quarterback, but he's got too many young pieces around him. They're going to go as far as their defense will take them, but this year, no. I think him firing their defensive coordinator saved him for this season, and if they don't take another big step forward this year, I think he's done.
Well, we do have one more Wolverine fan here on the panel. Storm, would you like to weigh in and maybe pull up the Wolverines here? Do you believe in Jim Harbaugh and what he's going to bring to the 2021 version of this team?
Well, I do have one saving grace for the Wolverines fans out there. At least our basketball program is pretty darn good. So, our football team, whatever. But hey, our basketball team, we're gonna come out there and kill it this year, make up for a lackluster football season, I think, to say the least. And no, I don't
Amen.
Harbaugh that much.
If memory serves, I think Michigan only won 2 games last year. Obviously, it was a weird COVID-stricken type of season,
Yes.
Bri, but also I did a little bit of research. They've had 3 or more losses every year since 2011. I was a fresh college grad way back then, so look at me now. I'm a little bit more grown up. You still haven't beat Ohio State in that time frame. Ryan Day and the boys looking like we're going to be the Big Ten favorites again. You think you're actually going to get it together during the Harbaugh years, or will you have a new coach before you turn the corner?
Unfortunately, I think we're going to have a new coach before we turn the corner. And I've been a Harbaugh guy. I've been a Harbaugh guy ever since they hired him. And I drank the Kool-Aid, especially early. But I just think he has been given 6 years. This is his 7th season, and they have not even shown the ability with better rosters to even compete with Ohio State. It's one thing to lose, but they go down there, or Ohio State comes up to Ann Arbor and they get blown out, and they're not even competitive. And it's starting to become a mental thing now. And I don't think Harbaugh beats them. I really don't.
G-Man, I'm sure as a Buckeye fan, right, you kind of like hearing that from a Michigan Wolverine guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. They really haven't competed. I believe the last year they completed was when we went into overtime, and that was that controversial first down with J.T. Barrett.
Yep.
Whether he crossed or not, Curtis Samuel, a few plays later, would end up scoring. But, I mean, I agree with him. I think Jim Harbaugh, the scheme he has implemented, the pro-style offense, I don't think it's meant for college. I think you got to open it up and just get the ball to your athletes. Let the QBs run. He's sticking to the hand the ball off, the play action pass. I think that's just meant for more professional style gameplay and not college. And I think they just need to get rid of him. It's just
Now, the only hope that they have this year is Josh Gaddis is in his 3rd season as the offensive coordinator. If they can start to play a little bit of more of that wide open style and use speed, as you were talking about, I think if they can consistently do that all season going into the Ohio State game, then I think they have a chance. But if that offense sputters, they're done.
All right. Well, I think this is an Ohio program that spent entirely too much time talking about that team up north. So let's move on to a subject that I know everybody in the world has an opinion on, Brian. And you're on a diet, so you can't be eating these right now. But back in the day before, when you were allowed to eat juicy burgers, which franchise American chain would you say has the best signature burger?
It's not even close. Five Guys.
Wow. Well, what would you say? What's even their signature burger?
I like their, when you say signature, so you're talking about like a Whopper or a Big Mac or something like that. Well,
Yeah.
then I would have to go Whopper because I guess Five Guys doesn't have a quote unquote signature burger, but the Whopper would be my favorite.
All right, Travis.
And I put away a few.
You know a thing or two about the fast food drive-through?
Actually, it's Hardee's. There isn't a Hardee's around here, but back in Wheeling, they had a couple Hardee's. The Angus burger, char-grilled, char-flamed burger, just really good. It blows out. It blows the Whopper, it blows the Big Mac, it blows all those other burgers out of the water.
I'm with you. At least similar style to that. I'm a sucker for Sonic America's drive-thru. They have something called the mustard burger. They put so much stuff slopped on top of there that I've actually ruined entire outfits from it getting all over my pants, my shirt. I had to throw them away. Had to burn them that night. Couldn't ever wear those clothes again. That's how you know it's a legit burger when they pile on all the fixins to the max, G-Man.
I mean, this one, I'm not a big burger guy myself. I would rather just go get like a chicken sandwich. I'm more of the chicken. But, I mean, if I had to pick, I mean, I think the Baconator and the Whopper, there's just nothing special really about them. I think, like, I mean, there's no sauce. Like, at least the Big Mac, you get the Thousand Island sauce. Like, there's something there that's different than just a regular burger. So, I mean, I guess I'd pick the Big Mac. I wouldn't, I mean, I don't go and get it if I go and eat there, but I guess the Big Mac.
probably the most resonant expert that we have on the panel is going to be Storm. This is your topic. Steal the show, buddy. Let us know what's the real correct answer.
Well, like I don't remember exactly how long it goes, but 5-10 years ago, it would have been the Big and Tasty from McDonald's. They don't have that anymore, unfortunately. That was my favorite burger. But I'm gonna have to go with the Whopper. It's a little bit underrated, but I just love Burger King for some reason. I know it's gross.
Serve food cold.
It hates my body. I don't even know what I like so much about Burger King, but I love the Whopper. The Big Mac is okay. It's too small. The Baconator is just too much grease. I know, too much grease for me. But the Whopper is just the perfect combination of all of them combined, I think.
When they do bring out the angry Whopper, so I guess it's kind of mixed into that fold where they throw the jalapenos right there into the patty. I mean, I had times when that was on the menu where I was eating 2-3 of them a week. It was a problem. I was a lot thicker back then. When you look back at some old videos, Bri, like from your time in TV back in the day, it's kind of weird to see how the body changes throughout the years, and maybe the gray hair is coming in as well, right?
Yeah, tell me about it. Your time's coming, buddy.
My time is coming. Well, hey, we appreciate your time. We know that you're a busy guy, but thanks for jumping on board. And don't give up the faith. Even though we know that it's not going to go well for you, stick around with the Michigan Wolverines. Never give them up, man.
You guys have a good day.
Hey, you too.
See you.
Take care, Brian.
Brian.
All right, guys. Finally, Cleveland is going to be the host to a celebrity boxing match coming up here next month. We've got Jake Paul taking on Tyron Woodley. So my question for you, we'll start down here. Travis, number 1, do you care? Number 2, who you got?
I didn't even know about this until right now, because the last time we talked about this, I said this was a travesty. It was fixed the last 2 times the Paul brothers fought. There's no actual rule. You couldn't get knocked down. What was it? Mayweather held him up. I'm not even going to watch it. I'm not even going to care about it. It's a sham. It's probably going to be fixed again. There's going to be some weird rules where you can't punch 100%, just throw little jabs or something like that. It's stupid. I am not even thinking about it. I will watch baseball. I'll watch a doubleheader straight through rather than watch that.
You could watch 2 of these boxing events in the time that you can watch one Major League Baseball game. So we'll get in those. G-Man, you tuning into this? And if you are, who you picking?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'll tune in. I'll probably follow it on the social medias. I don't know if I'll buy it, but I don't know. I mean, I've been doing my homework a little bit on the boxing and MMA world. Tyron Woodley, he was a welterweight champion. He beat Robbie Lawler. So, I mean, he got it done in MMA. He's got serious striking power. I mean, he can definitely hit somebody pretty hard, but it's different going into a boxing match in UFC. He usually has to worry about the takedowns, the defense, stuff like that. But standing up, just straight fighting, I mean, I'm going to take Tyron Woodley, but I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think Jake Paul is a better boxer than Logan Paul, but I mean, I see Tyron Woodley winning.
It's going to be close because it's rigged.
Rigged? Travis is so jaded already on these celebrity matches.
I would rather watch this rigged boxing match than a series with the Indians against the A's, so I guess I'll tune in.
Hey, that's your opinion, man.
Where's your viewership going to be in August on the 29th, Storm? What are you thinking?
Well, my mom's a big boxing fan, so we like to sit down and watch boxing together. Unfortunately, it's pay-per-view, which always sucks. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm super excited about it. I mean, I want to see the Paul brothers fight real boxers. I want them to stop doing the celebrity fights where they'll bring like someone else from the UFC in, something like that. I want them to fight the best boxers.
Floyd Mayweather doesn't count for you?
Well, he was
old. Pretty good, right?
He was old, and then they had all those restrictions. I want to see him in a real boxing match with a real boxer. But
this is a serious fight, though. Tyron Woodley, he ain't no joke.
Well, I know.
This one's decent. I mean, he's not a boxer, obviously, but he's got hands. He's got hands. He's definitely knocked some people out.
Avid MMA fan that's been following the UFC forever, I'm well aware of Tyron Woodley and some of the dynamite that he keeps within those 2 fists. And the nickname for him, the Chosen One, fighting in Cleveland, could maybe not go so well for Jake Paul, who I know is actually from Cleveland. I just feel like maybe just too many things will be at work. You might actually see a knockout, Travis. I think that Tyron's going to have too much pride to go out there, even if it is for a big paycheck, and kind of hold up Big Brother there.
Well, that's the best thing about social media. If he does get knocked out, I'll just watch the video. There is one person that I would like to see fight Paul. That's Chase Nelson. I would definitely watch Chase knock him around the ring and knock him out. That's the one match I would watch with Paul.
Speaking of Chase Nelson, we caught up with him earlier this week. We're going to have an interview dropping soon here in the next couple of days. And who knows, maybe Chase might get a call and be close to the action or something. We'll find out here in the coming days. But just want to tell you guys, thanks for watching once again. And make sure that you tune in to Team USA no matter what they're doing. Go red, white, and blue.
Let's go, baby.
Baby. Number
USA.
1. Let's go.
USA. 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 USA.